Hey guys, what's up? It's the Merc here from Bullshit Games, and it is 2016, which means the last content I made was about month and a half ago, back in 2015. I apologize for that. Tonight, though, we're going to do something I haven't done in quite a while. That is a beer and development video. And tonight, I'm going to be drinking Longboard Island Lager from the Kona Brewing Company. Pop that open here. Here's to you guys. I like this beer. Just to kind of talk a little bit about the beer that I'm drinking here at first. It's kind of a sweeter beer. Has a nice taste to it. Doesn't have a funky aftertaste like some beers. I'm by no means a beer connoisseur or a beer expert, but I know what I like and I know what I don't like. This is a little bit of a lighter tasting beer. It's not super heavy. It's not a stout. It is a lager, but I think of all the lagers I've had, it's one of the it's a different kind of lager. So you have it. That's what I'm drinking tonight. I don't know if your local six pack or beer distributor will carry it, but I got this at Wegmans. I don't know if you have that where you're at, but if you have a Wegmans and you want to try this, you can get it at Wegmans. So, what happened last year? It's a good question, and one I'm hopefully going to answer. Namely, my gaming dried up a little bit last year. I lost my normal opponent, which would be the Lich Lord. He moved to Iowa, so instead of being able to play games every weekend, or every other weekend at least, now it's every other weekend, if not every 2 or 3 weeks. So in that regard, I lost a lot of gaming time. Another thing is that with the Lich Lord gone, my gaming focus has changed. When he was here, we were talking about maybe trying to get back into 40k. We were playing Warmachine and Hordes, and neither of those things I really do anymore. 40k is such a love-hate relationship with me. I've talked about Games Workshop up here before. They put the Betrayal Caliph box out, which if you guys haven't seen that, it is a really nice box. I think you get 30 Tactical Marines, you get 10 Terminators, you get a Terminator hero, you get a regular Power Armor hero, and you get the Contemptor Dreadnought, which up until now had been a Forge World only model. And I think it's 120 or 130 bucks. So, it's a pretty good box set for all the stuff you get. And they're all like Horus Heresy era Marines, which makes them pretty cool. And I almost broke down and got that. I didn't, but I almost did. But none of the other people in my group, which, my other group here that gets together is my buddy Dom from Dragon Strike Studios. You guys saw him in the Planetfall video that we did. My dad, another older gentleman, and that's the reason I haven't been doing battle reports. Dom and I don't usually get together too often outside of like the regular gaming day because he has a family and kids and works, and I have work and school. And the other two guys, I don't think they'd really be into doing battle reports to put up on YouTube. So that's kind of been the issue there to an extent. So we have that. When it comes to Warmachine and Hordes, there's a local store around here where Warmachine and Hordes is a game that's played quite extensively. However, Warmachine or Warmahordes is a game that while I enjoy playing it casually. The Lich Lord and I, or like my dad and I, when we play it very casually. We don't sit down and make the toughest lists to crack. We don't, try to take things with no weaknesses. And I just don't want to go into an environment like a gaming store and play a game like Warmahordes, which is a very competitive game, and run into the guys that bring the net lists, the top tier lists, the list where they spend all the money to get the models that they need, kind of like Magic the Gathering, and just get stomped. So I got rid of my Khador army. I shuffled that along. I kept my conversions because I think they're cool, but they've kind of been shelved. The other game system that has been shelved that I don't know when I'm going to get to play again is Infinity. So if you're here for Infinity, I'm sorry, I don't know when it's going to be back. I have my Aleph army and I have my Nomad army. My Aleph are painted, my Nomads aren't. I don't know if the Nomads are ever going to get painted unless I actually go somewhere that plays that game again. So those are the games that aren't really getting played. Now, since it's a new year, I've been kind of reshuffling and restructuring the idea of what am I doing with the channel. And to that extent, I've come up with a new list of games that I'm going to be focusing on. Of course, Spartan games are going to continue to feature heavily in my content. And with that, it'll be Dystopian Wars, both naval and land battles. It'll be Firestorm Planetfall, because both Dom and I have like 2 armies each, so we can get the other guys in it to play. And Firestorm Armada. I have 2 armies. He has 1 major army and kind of like a secondary army. And I have a starter fleet kicking around somewhere for a 3rd army. So you have enough models that everybody can play. So those are the Spartan offerings. We've been talking a lot lately about Kings of War, which brings me into the next company that I'm going to be doing probably some of their games. And that company is Manic Games. If you guys don't know who Manic Games are, they make Dreadball, Dead Zone, Kings of War, Warpath, make a couple of board games like Dwarf King's Hold, Dungeon Saga, and I can't think of their spaceship boarding game. It was Pandora Dread Cargo or something. They make a lot of games, and up until recently, they had been viewed as the cheap alternative to Games Workshop, which I mean, I understand where people are coming from. Personally, I have no experience with their models. That is, however, going to change because Christmas time rolled around, and for Christmas, I broke down and got myself Dreadball, which is kind of like their futuristic sports game. It has some analogs to Blood Bowl, but it's not football. Where Blood Bowl was football, American style football, Dreadball I would say is more like rugby, soccer, that kind of thing. So there's a lot. It seems like it's a lot more fluid of a game, whereas Blood Bowl I've played the computer game, and I actually played the old miniatures game. Wasn't quite as fluid. So that's the game. I have 5 teams for that, which means we're going to be able to run a league. I'm going to run a league up at school with the guys up there. And we also been talking about getting into Kings of War, which Kings of War is Manic's mass fantasy combat game. It has all the trappings. It has dwarves, elves, humans, human paladin types. It has evil dwarves, orcs, goblins, ogres. And the cool thing is, Manic released a completely separate army book with, I think, 7 or 8 different armies in it that are analogs for Games Workshop's old Warhammer Fantasy armies for people that want to keep playing to use. So they have a Lizardman army, they have a Knight type army, they have the like a Beastmen herd type army. All really cool stuff. And Kings of War is rank and file, units moving around. And the nice thing is it's different enough from GW to still be interesting. So those are 2 other games that at least Dreadball I'm definitely going to be covering. Kings of War we're seriously talking about. In regards to the fact that I'm going to be doing a Dreadball League at school rather than an RPG, I've found that with my group at school, who I've known now for about 3 years, I think what they want from an RPG, what I want from an RPG, are two completely different things. Uh, I tend to take my RPGs a little bit more seriously, and I generally like my players to take the game a little bit more seriously. And the group I have isn't that type of group, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't enjoy running a game for them anymore. Our Deadlands game, it lasted for about half of the semester. It was going all right, but it's just there wasn't a lot of seriousness at the table, and I got to the point where I didn't really feel like taking adventure making seriously, so I stopped. I just make stuff up off the cuff, and eventually we gave up and turned to board games. Now, board games we tend to have a lot of fun with. So, I think Dreadball will be a good game for everybody to play uh, and have a good time with. That was kind of part of the reason I got it. So, with that little note about why I won't be doing RPGs here the last semester of school, I'm going to go into the last two games that I plan on checking out and talking about over the next year uh, here at Bullshit Games. First game is X-Wing's miniature game from Fantasy Flight Games. I love Fantasy Flight Games. I have a handful of their board games. The Lich Lord had some when he was here. We have played quite a few of their games. I played a little bit of their Dust Tactics when they had put it out. The miniatures for that were really... I liked them. I thought they were nice. They tend to be very economical. You can buy into their games and play, and not be slammed with expense. And that's what kind of brought me to Star Wars, the X-Wing game. I've been looking at this game for quite a while. I finally decided I take the plunge and I'll make the game. I'll buy the game. I'm going to use some of the funds from selling my old armies to buy into that. I'm going to get enough ships for both the Imperial and Rebel side to make it interesting. And it's another game I'm going to try to play with guys up at school because, again, it's the kind of game that is not overly complicated. I can carry it easily, and you don't need a lot of terrain. It's been kind of a barrier to taking miniatures games to school is you need terrain, and if you're looking at like War Machine or Infinity or even 40k in Fantasy, you need just to take so much stuff. Whereas with like X-Wing or Dreadball, I can fit everything in like one or two small boxes and just take it and go. So X-Wing is another game that I'm going to be talking about a little bit over the coming year. And the last game, I'm not 100% committed to yet, but the more I'm looking into it, the more I think it's going to scratch an itch that I have, which is an itch for 28mm gaming. And that game is Beyond the Gates of Antares, which is a game that Warlord Games put out. I don't know a lot about Warlord Games. I know that they picked up the Judge Dredd game when Mongoose Publishing titsed it up. I'm sorry, I have bad history with Mongoose games, but I know Warlord Games picked up Judge Dredd, and they're doing Beyond the Gates of Antares, and I think they also do a lot of... I think they do Bold Action, which I know a lot of people enjoy. They do a lot of other historical miniatures. And what Beyond the Gates of Antares is it is a game by Rick Priestley, who originally worked for Games Workshop. He was one of the original people that worked on 40k. And it just looks like a really interesting sci-fi game. Most of it's kind of like pan-transhumanist. So most of the factions are human with subtle differences, but there's a couple alien factions involved. It uses something like order dice to see what your units are going to do. So all in all, I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I'm going to talk to some of the guys about it and see if they'd be interested in trying it. And that'll probably be the extent of my gaming adventures here over the course of the year. I have stuff for Dystopian Wars I'm going to do unboxings of and talk about. I'm going to try to get some painting done. God, I haven't painted in a while. I'm going to try to get some painting done and start doing some pictures and videos about like what armies I have and what I have for them. Gonna be doing the Dreadball stuff. I'm gonna do a video about the minis in Dreadball, and I am gonna do an unboxing of the big game itself. And actually, if you watch this video, you will see that a video coming after this, which is the unboxing, they're in reverse order. I did the unboxing first, but I'm going to be putting this video up first because you'll see me take that rulebook that I showed you out of the box in the unboxing video. But going to be doing that. I'm going to be talking about the leagues. I don't know if there'll be any RPG stuff going on. The one other thing I wanted to touch upon here, just, getting stuff in, talking about stuff in the new year. Some people comment on the old Book Cantina videos, and they ask, or they recommend books to maybe be done, or they've written a book that they want. And I hate to be the guy, but the Book Cantina, I don't think there's going to be any more of those. The Lich Lord, like I said, he moved away, and I read, but I am not as prolific a reader as he was and still is, and I don't think I'm going to be doing book review videos. So sadly, if you're only here for the Book Cantina videos, you're not going to be getting any content. But I am hoping to talk to some of my friends. I want to bring some other talent in on the channel. I don't want it to just be me, because I understand that I am boring sometimes. And I have a couple of friends. One guy who is really into comics and movies. I might talk to him, see if he wants to come into the channel and do some videos with me. If I get the Star Wars game, he will be a person that I would talk to about maybe doing battle reports with to show you guys. So that's all stuff coming up. I am excited. Like I said, I kind of took a month off for reasons, and I'm back now. Sadly enough, I mean, it's exciting, but I guess, talking about things coming up in the channel, I am almost done with school. In May, I will graduate with my bachelor's in international security and a minor in philosophy and history. So if anybody knows any jobs in those fields, let me know, because college. But what that means is, at the end of May, I'm going to be looking for adult jobs again, career. And that probably means that, sadly, I'm going to be moving, which means I'll be leaving the pool shed behind, and I'll be leaving this area behind, for more than likely. And during that process, I don't know when I'll be making videos. And also, depending on the job that I get, I don't know if the channel will be able to continue or not. I'm hoping it will. I'm hoping that having this won't interfere with any of the jobs that I'm looking at in the future. But if it does, I will choose that over this, because money is a good thing. And if all goes well, maybe at some point I'll be able to actually do more with Poolshed Games, which was initially my plan. I'm still working on the rules for my game. If I could get that finalized, I would really love to put that out there. And I would love to just make rules for games and make my own games, but I don't know if that'll happen. So there you have it. Let's take one last sip of beer. Here's to you guys. Happy New Year, I hope. With the coming of the new year, I hope everything goes the way you want it to. I hope everything is good. If 2015 was a bad year, it's done now. It was yesterday, and it's 2016 now. So, let go of the things that might have been causing you trouble or bringing you down, and embrace the new year. So here's you guys. And we will see you next time here at Bullshit Games.